welcome in this new video. During this session, we are going to learn how to import data through three different API, which are Yahoo Finance, Google Finance, and Alpha Vantage, with the package Pandas Data Reader. As usual, we are going to start by importing our raw packages. Let's set it as a title. If you remember well, in the first video, what we set as a raw package was import numpy as np, import pandas as pd, and concerning data visualization, we are going to import plotly dot graph objects as go. Oh, sorry, spelling mistake. Perfect. We will have as well two extra packages before to import any data. First of all, the data which will bring us our data sources from the market, which is called Pandas Data Reader, from Pandas Data Reader, and we will import it. We will import data b, and on top of that you will also need the module data, and inside this library, inside the library data, more precisely, you will need the sub library or the module which is called dates. Okay, let's import it and I will make you a quick debrief about it. From datetime, import dates. Let's execute. Okay, the advantage of having this module will be for us to convert dates in the right format. Also, that will bring us the possibility to have today's date as a variable. When I express you the fact to have today's date as a variable, which means like we will be able to define, for example, if we want data, the market data from Amazon or market data of Google shares, for instance, what we'll have to do, we will be able to plot it from an entry data that we will define, such as like start date, which will be equal to, let's say 15 of July 2018, for instance, until the end date will be equal to today. In order to get today's date, the small trick that you're gonna have to do in order to get it will be to use the datetime library and the date module. Okay, what you have to do here is date.today. You're gonna have to open and close it. If you read about it, you can just like shift enter. This module gives you the current date or datetime, and that's built-in function or method. As you can see, you don't have any argument to put inside, just execute. One last thing before to finish setting up our date will be to convert this date as pandas.toDateTime in order to have the date in the right format, because we are going to deal with time series, and that's important to have all our dates in the as daytime, and we're gonna convert today's date as daytime. It's not necessary, but that's always good to always convert your date in this format in order to don't have wrong surprise. Let's execute, and now if you check the start date, that's a timestamp with the date of 15 July 2018. And if we check the end date, okay, that's a timestamp. And today, when I'm shooting this video, we are the 4th June 2020, which is actually exact. Okay, let's continue. Now, the first API that we are going to discover will be Yahoo Finance. Let's set a title. Yahoo Finance. Let's execute. Okay. In order to import any data through Pandas data reader, the command is quite straightforward. Data.data reader. Inside this function, what you will have to, if you check inside, what you can notice is the first argument. The first argument is a name. Second argument is data source. The third argument is start date, and the last argument is the end date. Okay, let's do as following. The first argument, if you remember well, is the name. If that's gonna depend. If you want, for example, the data from the S&P 500, you can type SPY. If you want share price from Apple, you can type AAPI. Or if you want data from Amazon, you can type AMZN. Here we're gonna take data from the S&P 500. After that, you have to set up your data source. You can just check. The second argument is the data source. Here the data source that we will choose in this case is Yahoo Finance. What you have to type is Yahoo, then your start date, and your end date. Okay, end date is not defined. Great. As you can see here, you have your market data from the 16th of July until the 3rd of June 2020. What is interesting here is because at the time as I'm talking to you, the market didn't open yet, which means you don't have any data. Otherwise, Yahoo Finance API is very efficient. I believe if I compare different API in order to import market data, Yahoo Finance is one of the most efficient API through Pandas data reader for two main reasons. First of all, it's very easy to get data. You have complete data about the market, which is very, very important. You have your adjunct clause, you have your volume, the price at the end of the day. Essentially, at my eyes, that's the best, and on top of that, they are very efficient in order to bring you data in real time. That's not gonna be at the minute or at 10 minutes close, but by experience, it's the one which bringing you the data the earliest as possible. So now let's continue on the second API, which is called Google Finance. Similarly to the previous one, what we are going to do, this time we will import the Dow Jones Index. Now, if we want to compare to the S&P 500, what we are going to do, we will import data from the, for example, the Dow Jones Industrial Index, DJY. Okay, the first argument is the stock name. The second one is the source name. Now we are not going to use Yahoo Finance. We are going to use Google Finance, which is called Stock in Pandas Data Reader. And we are going to close with our start date and our end dates. Let's execute. Yeah, as you can see again, you have all your data. What is interesting to notice is in this case, the data are not in the same way. For the Yahoo Finance outputs or result set, as you can see, we're starting by they are sorted by an ascending way, whilst when you use Google Finance, that's the data are sorted by a descending way. But that's not major difference. Second point to notice, and I wanted you to notice that, is the argument and date don't have any value for Google Finance API. They're gonna bring you the full range of data that they can bring you. That's the black point concerning Google Finance API. That's why when I was explaining you that Yahoo Finance is the most accurate, that one of the other reason is the number of arguments inside. So now what we are going to do, we are going to make a quick spotlight on how to get quick information about Forex data. In this case, we are going to go through Alpha Vantage API. Alpha Vantage API. Alpha Vantage API is much bigger than this application through Pandas Data Reader. Here it's just to show you how to get this type of data through Pandas Data Reader. You can download the full package on the complete Alpha Vantage library. Here it's just a focus on Pandas Data Reader and how Pandas is able to call Alpha Vantage API in order to get some Forex data. Okay, let's say you need for information to have the conversion from the rate from GBP to USD. For instance, if you are trading in USD and you want to have a quick reminder about what is the current currency, you can just type this line. Similarly, you will have to type the first argument is gonna be your name. For instance, that's gonna be GBP USD. The second argument is gonna be the source name, which means Alpha Vantage Forex. You're gonna have to set your start date and your end date. And at the end, you will have to type your API key. API key equal to HT okay, let me just copy and paste. Once you set your API key, you have to execute. And here, as you can see, you can have the exchange rate between GBP and USD at the time where I'm currently shooting this video, which means today we are the 4th of June 2020. It's 8 a.m. 8:08 a.m. and at this time the exchange rate is at 1.25. Yeah, if you want to get your API, I will set you a link at the end of the Jupyter notebook link for API. You will have a link just right here on which you're gonna be able to go. You're gonna have to subscribe to, that's a free API, but you're gonna have to set up an account with Alpha Vantage. You will have an API key, and at this time you will be able to have any Forex data through Pandas data reader. For instance, if you want the Bitcoin against USD, that's working as well for cryptocurrencies. At this moment, when I'm talking to you, the price of the Bitcoin is set up at now 9,635.38 USD per Bitcoin. Yeah, I will set you a link for an API just right here, and you will be able to go and explore, set up an account. If you want to know and to have more information about Alpha Vantage API, which is a very powerful API, at my eyes, the three most powerful API will be Yahoo Finance, Alpha Vantage complete package, not just a vision through Pandas data reader, and Quandle. But yeah, if we stay about Alpha Vantage, you will have like a full description about the library, but here what I wanted to show you, it was how you can get data easily and efficiently through Pandas data reader. I believe we are all set right now. We are all done. You are now able to import any type of data very quickly in just few lines of code. As you can see, in one line you have your complete data on the stock that you want. You can change data source very efficiently. The only last point that I want to spotlight is for certain sources you will need an API key, but I will set you a link here how to get an API for Alpha Vantage Forex. You're gonna be able to get an API key, and after that I believe we are all set. Well done, and in the next video we are going to explore how to get data from Quandle. So see you in the next video.